Thebausffs is famous for his int-to-win playstyle. Countless YouTubers have already broken down the Bauss's strategy and analyzed Bausen's lore. But what many people don't think about is the champions that enable him to do this proxy playstyle. Because not just any champion can work for the Bauss. There are 3 secret rules that the Bauss's champions all follow. Rules that explain why he dominates on crazy picks like full AP Jax, but never touches champions like Camille or Fiora. Let me show you how the Bauss has aligned his champion picks and playstyle perfectly. The Bauss is known for proxying. By slipping past the enemy turret, he has uncontested access to the wave. But not every champion in the game can proxy. Champions need a certain amount of wave clear to ensure they don't end up taking too much damage from minions.
Doesn't have wave clear, I won't play it.
This is why the Bauss doesn't pick champions like Fiora or Shen, because they simply don't have these AoE abilities that can easily clear waves. Even champions like Gwen and Aatrox, who do have AoE abilities, don't pass the test, because their abilities have nerfed damage against minions, ruining their proxy potential. But the Bauss's champions like Sion, Gragas, Kayn, Galio, Vi, and Rammus all have abilities that can clear entire waves very efficiently. This minimizes the amount of damage the Bauss takes from the minion wave, giving him enough time to fully clear the wave before the jungler rotates to him, or to move further up the lane and proxy beyond the second tower. The Bauss loves wave clear so much that he saw the potential in Jax, but Jax's normal AD build simply didn't have enough wave clear for his playstyle. The Bauss realized by building Jax AP, his E ratios allowed him to instantly one-shot waves. This phenomena I dub bausification, where the Bauss takes a champion and changes how they usually play to fit his own playstyle. The Bauss took Jax and transformed him from your average top lane bruiser into a wave one-shotting machine. We can also see the importance of wave clear in the Bauss's new Kennen, as he opts for W max instead of the usual Q max, changing Kennen from a poking laner into a wave one-shotter. It's amazing that no matter what champion you put the Bauss on, he will always try to find the best wave clear for that champion. This wave clear is also important to his mid and late game strategy. Being able to one-shot waves means that the Bauss can find bush angles and catch enemies off guard, and hit enemy towers before they can rotate to him. This wave clear isn't just about having high CS. It allows the Bauss to create so much pressure on the map. The Bauss is always knocking on the front door of your Nexus and vacuuming every resource in front of him. Champions like Camille and Fiora don't have enough wave clear, so the Bauss just refuses to pick them. But even a champion like Rumble, who does have wave clear and can proxy, still isn't played by the Bauss. To understand why, we still have 2 more secret champion rules to analyze. If you heard that the Bauss is a famous Sion main, you would think he doesn't care much about mobility, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Because rather than laning, the Bauss prefers to proxy, and there are 2 access points to get into the proxy position. The first option, simply walk through the lane, and the second option, run around through the jungle. If you crash the minion wave under turret, you can simply walk through to catch the next wave. However, you risk heavy trading with your opponent. Having access to terrain scaling abilities means that the Bauss can easily navigate through the jungle to get to the next wave. Abilities like Vi Q, Jax Q, Gragas E, and Kayn E allow for easier proxy access, whereas champions like Rumble or Gangplank have to walk through the tower without any mobility. But this is not a necessity, as even the Bauss's iconic Sion just walks through the turret to get to the next wave. The Bauss really utilizes mobility to be extremely greedy. When proxying waves or pushing towers, the Bauss is extremely vulnerable. So when enemies respond to him being out of position, he has 2 choices: either die or escape. And although the Bauss is known for dying a lot, He often utilizes his mobility to make some of the craziest escapes I've ever seen.
Bausi, you have no flash. Nice cancel. Big ult. Phase rush. No sleepy time, Baus. No sleepy time. You don't. No time for bed. It's not time for bed. You can keep playing games all night. Yeah. Yeah. Slow connect. Come on, Bausi. You got mana for E. Talk to me. Slow. You got no mana. You're flash though. E's out. Bausi's out.
Gragas E, Vi Q, Kayn E, and ultimates like Scions and Quins allow the Baus to be extremely greedy with his playstyle, baiting the enemy team, then utilizing his mobility to leave enemies empty-handed when they try to stop him. The Baus appreciates escape mobility so much that when he picked up Rammus, instead of using his ultimate as an engage tool like every other Rammus player, he bausified Rammus, utilizing his ultimate to jump over walls and escape, changing Rammus's playstyle from an engaged tank to align with the Baus's proxy strategy. Champions like Gwen, Darius, Rumble, or Gangplank simply have to hold their ground when put in these situations. But the Baus's champions have the ability to escape the greediest scenarios. On champs that can utilize it, the Baus is completely addicted to phase rush. Hitting these 3-part combos and getting a burst of movement speed, the Baus is able to juke around enemy skill shots like the true Messi of League. In the item shop, the Baus will always look to buy more mobility. Swiftness boots or symbiotic souls give him even more access to movement speed. He also loves buying items such as Youmuu's Cosmic Drive and Rocket Belt to allow even more mobility on his champions, transforming a pick like Scion from an immobile tank into a ballistic missile aimed right at your ADC. All this mobility allows the Baus to play his in-your-face playstyle, as he knows he can get into the proxy position, bait the enemies to collapse on him, and then narrowly escape, wasting even more of their time. But a champion like Riven has both AoE wave clear and more mobility than most champions in the game, but still isn't picked by the Baus. To understand why the Baus isn't a Riven one-trick, we have to understand his final champion secret: simplicity and burst. The Baus is called the Messi of League because he can hit clips like this.
Wow! Oh, wow!
The Baus rejects the usual bruiser philosophy of top lane, because why take 10 seconds to kill the enemy when you can delete them in just 1? This is the final part of the bausification process, simplifying champions by building full damage and min-maxing their combos, transforming Scion from a tank into an assassin, Jax from a bruiser into an assassin, Bruiser Ambessa? No thanks, I'd rather Assassin Ambessa. Actually good AD Irelia? No thanks, I'll take useless burst AP Irelia. And in my opinion, the greatest example of bausification, full lethality crit Vi, allowing the Baus to one-shot people like this. This is why the Baus doesn't play champions like Riven, because he prefers simple champions with fast burst combos. If you've ever seen the Baus 1v1 someone, you know that he is very mechanically competent, and I'm sure that he could play Riven at a high level with animation cancels and all. But building these full AP or AD burst builds allows the Baus to simplify these champions and then completely min-max these combos to pull them off faster than the opponent can react. This synergizes with these champions' wave clear, as by building full damage, it means he can one-shot waves even easier. The previously mentioned mobility of these champions means the Baus can play his hit and run playstyle, bursting the enemy with a full combo, then repositioning with his mobility, weaving in and out of fights. Utilizing his mobility out of combat, he can set up flank angles or hide in bushes, giving him the perfect windows to min-max his damage and one-shot enemies before they can react. This simplicity allows for the Baus to focus on dodging abilities like the true Messi of League, as he is already so practiced and efficient with his champions' combos. Champions like Jax, Ambessa, Scion, and Vi usually prefer long sustained fighting as it allows them to get lots of rotations of their abilities off. But Thebausffs rejects their usual playstyles and builds how he wants to, making these champions' playstyles align with how Thebausffs wants to play, pulling pressure and pushing waves. The only other mechanic that Thebausffs' champions have in common are abilities that do extra damage to turrets, Vi E, Jax W, and most famously, Thebausffs Special. These abilities help him to push even more turrets, but this wasn't consistent enough throughout his entire champion pool. But Thebausffs can teach us a lot about League, and not just his own playstyle. Thebausffs has created this strategy through experimentation and understanding the game on a deep level. As a result, he has tailored his champion pool to fit how he wants to play, and even transformed some champions' playstyles to align with his. I think it's super cool that every player in League has different champions at different mastery levels with different champion pools that are all unique to each player. Whether it's Bausification playing Gragas, Faker playing Gragas, or Sloppy Walrus playing Gragas, they will all play him differently. League of Legends is the base game, but depending on our perspectives and how we play, our builds and playstyles of champions are unique to us. So instead of just locking in whatever's broken this patch, look at some of your favorite champions and question why you like them. Experiment and see what other champions might fit your playstyle. Maybe even something outside your main role, or bring a champion into a different role to see if it might fit. League of Legends is a game about player expression through choice. I think that Thebausffs might be one of the players that no matter what he locks in, is always expressing himself in how he plays.